Archangel Michael says it's an emergency. Michael is saying you have been warned. This is not a joke. Your person is walking away from everything for a future. Open it immediately. Archangel Michael says I need you to listen to me without hesitation, because this moment is unlike anything you have faced before. The energy around you is heavy with urgency, and every second you delay brings you closer to an irreversible shift. Your person, the one whose presence has been deeply tied to your life's path, is preparing to walk away from everything they've built, all for a future they believe is waiting beyond your reach. This isn't a small choice they're making in secret. It's a decision born from months of quiet planning, silent thoughts, and conversations you were never meant to hear. In the shadows, they've been looking at a new horizon, convincing themselves that leaving everything behind is the only way forward. The truth is, they are not only walking away from the physical things you know, the home, the connections, the shared spaces, but from the emotional tether that has bound them to you for so long. They are ready to abandon the comfort of what was familiar for a vision of a life that seems more exciting, more promising, but also more dangerous. Archangel Michael says I am standing between the choice they're about to make and the future you're about to face. The wind has already shifted in their favor for this departure. But there is still a narrow opening for intervention. I will not sugarcoat this. The road they're looking toward is steeped in uncertainty, and what they believe to be a brighter future might be the very thing that unravels them completely. They have been telling themselves a story, one they have carefully constructed to justify this sudden transformation. It began with small doubts that grew into silent frustrations, then bloomed into the thought that maybe their destiny lay somewhere else. They've convinced themselves that walking away will heal something inside them, though they don't yet understand the void it will create. You must understand, this choice isn't only about them. It will ripple into your life, your stability, your sense of direction, and the very way you see yourself. The path they're considering will force you to reimagine everything you thought was permanent. There are whispers from those around them, voices feeding into this new vision, urging them to cut ties with the past. These influences are dangerous, dressed in the disguise of support but hiding agendas of control and self-interest. If they continue listening to those voices, the bridge between you will burn faster than you can rebuild it. Archangel Michael says that in this moment, the spiritual realm is pressing against the earthly plane, urging you to stay aware. The next days will be marked by signs. Some obvious, others subtle, and your task is to see them for what they are, not for what you wish them to be. This walking away is not a gentle fade into the background. It is an abrupt, decisive move. They have already envisioned the moment they leave, the things they will take, and the words they will speak as they go. And yet, there's a part of them, buried deep, that hesitates, wondering if they are running towards something better or fleeing from something they can't face. You might have noticed small signs without realizing their weight. A shift in tone when they speak to you, longer absences, moments when they avoid eye contact, or pauses before they answer your questions. These are not coincidences. They are the early tremors before a quake. They are preparing for life that feels like a risk worth taking, but they underestimate the value of what they are leaving behind. It is not just about possessions or familiarity, it is about the history, the struggles, and the victories you've shared. Walking away means severing that thread, and once it's cut, it can never be restored to what it once was. The heavens are pressing you to be alert because the moment they choose to act, there will be little warning. And when that door closes, the echo will not just be heard. It will be felt in every fiber of your being. The reason this warning is so urgent is because time is no longer a luxury. They are standing at a crossroads, and the choice could come within days, perhaps even hours. They believe they are chasing freedom, but what they cannot see is the web of consequences lying in wait. I see the path they are considering, and I see the faces of those welcoming them there. Smiles that look warm, but carry the sharpness of hidden intent. Arms that open wide, not to embrace but to pull into a plan that serves their own ambition. If they step forward now, the chains will not be visible at first. They will feel light, unburdened, and alive until the reality begins to show its teeth. You will watch from afar, unable to reach them as easily as before, and they will realize too late that they traded stability for illusion. Archangel Michael says there is still a chance to alter this course, but it requires that you step into the fullness of your own truth. Do not let fear make you silent. Do not let hope make you blind. This is the time to act with clarity and conviction. They have been moving quietly, making adjustments in the shadows so no one notices the full picture until it's too late. Small withdrawals from conversations, unexplained absences, and a growing distance in their eyes when you speak to them. These are the cracks in the surface you can no longer ignore. It's not random behavior. It's preparation. Archangel Michael says they are already picturing themselves in a place far from here. The images in their mind are vivid. A new setting, new faces, a fresh start free from the weight of everything they associate with the present. It's this mental escape that has fueled their resolve, giving them the illusion that the future they imagine is more real than the life they currently live. But what they are not accounting for is the way this choice will strip them of certain protections. Walking away from everything doesn't just remove you from the equation. It removes the safety net that has caught them more times than they've ever acknowledged. They will find themselves in a landscape they don't fully understand, surrounded by people whose loyalty is untested. There is a restlessness in them. The kind that keeps them awake at night staring at the ceiling, wondering what it would feel like to breathe a different kind of air. They believe it's freedom they are chasing, but in truth, they are walking toward a test that will shake the very foundation of who they are. You have been feeling it too, that unspoken shift in the air when they walk into the room. The conversations don't flow the same way. The silences have grown longer, heavier, carrying words that neither of you has dared to speak aloud. Somewhere deep inside, you know that this isn't just a phase they'll snap out of. It's a trajectory, a movement toward an ending that could come suddenly and without the courtesy of closure. They're rehearsing their absence, and you can sense the countdown even without seeing the clock. The forces at work here are not only human. There are whispers in the spiritual realm, pulling at their spirit, testing their resolve, and planting ideas that grow in the soil of dissatisfaction. These whispers are persistent, persuasive, and they are gaining volume with each passing day. Archangel Michael says you cannot afford to underestimate the timing of what is happening. This isn't years away. This isn't a distant possibility. This is an approaching storm, one that's already visible if you're willing to open your eyes to the signs. The people influencing them right now are not acting out of kindness. They wear masks that make them seem like friends, confidants, or even mentors, but their intentions are rooted in self-interest. They see your person as a piece of a larger plan, a plan that serves their own vision, not your person's true good. I see them making promises, painting grand pictures of what life could look like if your person just stepped away from their current life. They're feeding them the idea that loyalty is a chain, that comfort is a trap, and that the only way to truly live is to cut ties and start over. But this is manipulation disguised as inspiration. Once your person takes that leap, these same voices will tighten their grip. They'll control the narrative, isolate them from those who care for them, and twist the story so that going back seems impossible. This is why intervention now is critical, before the bridges burn beyond repair. Archangel Michael says that the moment of departure is closer than you think. There will be a sign, a message, a change in their routine, a sudden trip, and when it appears, you'll know that the decision has already been made in their heart. They are not prepared for what's truly waiting for them. In their mind, they see endless opportunities, new beginnings, and a kind of happiness that feels effortless. But the reality is that every choice has a cost, and this cost will be heavier than they expect. Once they leave, they will encounter challenges they've never faced before: financial strain, emotional isolation, and the pressure to prove themselves in a world that won't bend to accommodate them. The things they took for granted will suddenly seem like treasures they can't get back. The spiritual realm shows me a moment in the near future where they will sit alone, questioning whether the leap they took was worth it. But by then, they may be too entangled in the life they've chosen to return without leaving parts of themselves behind forever. Archangel Michael says there is still hope. If you remain steadfast, if you recognize the signs, and if you speak with truth and courage when the moment presents itself, you may yet pull them back from the edge they are walking toward. Archangel Michael says there are forces in motion that you cannot see with your physical eyes, but they are as real as the air you breathe. The shift has already begun, quiet enough to go unnoticed by most, but loud enough in the spiritual realm to demand urgent attention. Your person is not only considering walking away, they are emotionally detaching piece by piece, as if already preparing to live without what they currently hold. They've started to make small sacrifices to get ready for this break. Certain habits have changed, certain regimes have been abandoned, and even the people they once spoke to daily are now kept at a polite distance. It's their way of lessening the shock when they finally step away, because they know in their heart that the final move will hurt, and they want to dull the blow in advance. But what they don't realize is that by doing this, they are creating space for others to step in. That space is dangerous. It becomes a vacuum that invites the wrong kinds of influences, people who see vulnerability as opportunity and who will happily pull them further from what truly matters. Archangel Michael says you must not misread this quietness as peace. This is not peace, it's the silence before an irreversible decision, a calmness that hides the tension building underneath. Every day it grows stronger. And every day the road away from you becomes clearer in their mind. Here is an image I see: your person standing on a metaphorical cliff, staring out at a horizon they think is calling them. To them, it looks bright, new, and promising, but they can't see the fog that lies just beyond it. That fog hides sharp edges, unseen obstacles, and trials that will test them in ways they've never imagined. They think they are walking toward freedom, but in reality, they are walking toward a test of loyalty, endurance, and identity. Without realizing it, they are stepping into a space where they will be asked to prove themselves in front of people who will not care for them the way you do. You have likely felt the shift in your own body, the sudden restlessness, the moments where you can't explain why your heart feels heavy for no reason. That's because your spirit already senses the separation coming. When two souls have been connected deeply, the signal of distance begins long before the physical departure. Archangel Michael says you have been given this warning because there is still a thread connecting you to them, one strong enough to pull them back if you act before it's too late. But you must act with clarity, not desperation. Desperation pushes people further away. Clarity draws them toward truth. Your person has already begun to imagine conversations where they explain their departure. They rehearse what they might say if confronted, carefully shaping the words so they don't sound like betrayal. They believe they can make it seem like a mutual understanding, a clean break. But in truth, this is not mutual. This is a choice made in secret, built on private thoughts and quiet agreements with people who have no stake in your well-being. It is a departure motivated by a combination of curiosity, temptation, and dissatisfaction. And once the step is taken, it will alter more than just their own life. The people urging them forward are strategic. They know exactly how to plant doubt in your person's mind and make them believe they deserve something better, without mentioning the price they will have to pay for it. This manipulation is not accidental. It's deliberate, and it's moving faster than you think. Archangel Michael says the only way to counter this is to be spiritually sharper than the forces trying to lure them away. Watch closely. Listen intently. Small details will give away the next moves, a sudden change in schedule, a conversation cut short, an unexplained trip or meeting. If nothing changes, I see them standing at a departure point within weeks, possibly days, ready to turn their back on everything familiar. The way they walk will tell you everything. It will be quick, purposeful, and without looking back. They will convince themselves they have no choice, that this was inevitable. But what they will not see until later is that leaving will not give them the instant happiness they imagine. At first, the newness will be intoxicating, fresh faces, new surroundings, and the thrill of breaking free. But when the excitement fades, the reality will set in like a weight they can't escape. They will think of the stability they left behind, the hands that once held them up when they stumbled, the voice that guided them when they were lost. And in that moment, they will feel the loss not just in their heart, but in their soul. Archangel Michael says there is still a choice here. You can allow them to walk into the unknown unprepared, or you can become the voice that breaks through the noise around them. A voice strong enough to make them question whether the they are chasing is truly the one meant for them. Archangel Michael says the clock is ticking faster than you realize. The forces that have been circling your person are growing bolder, more confident that they have their grip firmly around them. You may not hear the conversations, but the spiritual realm hears every whisper, and I am delivering them to you now so you cannot say you were left in the dark. They are already making practical preparations, even if they don't yet appear obvious to the untrained eye. Certain possessions have been quietly set aside, money has been moved in ways that seem harmless, and there have been searches. Searches for things that would only be needed if they were going somewhere far away from you. This is the pre-departure stage, and it is the most dangerous because it means they are no longer just thinking about leaving. They are actively planning for it. What they believe is a brave step toward a better life is actually a move that will strip them of protection. Right now, whether they realize it or not, your presence shields them from traps, betrayal, and harm. Once they remove themselves from your orbit, they will be walking into a realm where loyalty is conditional, and survival depends on alliances that can shift at any moment. Archangel Michael says, I have been sent to pierce through the illusion. They are trapped in. They think they are making a decision for themselves, but they are walking into a narrative carefully constructed by others, people who benefit more from their absence in your life than from their presence. You must not ignore the changes in their energy. They have grown colder in moments where they used to be warm. Their attention drifts easily, as though their mind is somewhere else entirely. They avoid certain topics with you, topics that used to be shared freely. This is because their mind is already living in the after. In their imagination, they have already left. They are rehearsing their independence, imagining the freedom of answering to no one, of being far from the weight of expectation. But they are also unknowingly rehearsing for loneliness they have never experienced before. In the future, I see, there is a moment where they sit in a quiet space, their new life unfolding around them, and they think of you. Not in passing, but with a heaviness that grips their chest. It will be the moment they realize they traded something sacred for something uncertain. Archangel Michael says this warning is not meant to fill you with fear, but to prepare you with power. You are being given time, however short, to step forward with intention. The choices you make now will determine whether their future is built with you in it, or apart from you forever. The people they are listening to right now are not who they seem. They wear friendly faces, offer reassuring words and give the impression of safety. But underneath, there is strategy. Every conversation is designed to separate your person from you emotionally before the physical separation happens. I see these individuals creating subtle conflict, suggesting that your presence in their life is limiting. They frame it as encouragement, telling your person they are capable of more if they just let go of certain ties. It sounds like empowerment, but it's manipulation. Once they've successfully created that distance, the final push will come quickly. Your person will believe they are making an independent choice. But in reality, they'll be stepping exactly where they've been guided, into a place where they will be far easier to influence and control. Archangel Michael says this is why I am speaking now, because if you wait for them to announce their departure, you will already be too late. The true battle is in their heart and mind right now, and that's where you must reach them. There will be signs in the days ahead, a sudden change in their tone when they speak to you, an unyielding delay in responding, a conversation where they sound almost as though they are speaking from somewhere far away. Pay attention to these small shifts, they are markers on the road they are taking. I also see an important date approaching. On this day, something will happen that cements their decision in their mind unless intervention comes before then. It may be a meeting, a message, or an opportunity that appears too good to pass up. This is the critical moment, the point where their choice will either be sealed or shattered. If you can reach them before that date, if you can pierce through the illusions and remind them of the truth, you can alter the path they are about to take. But if you remain silent, believing there is still time, the window will close, and when it does, it will close completely. Archangel Michael says the urgency I am placing in your heart is not to be ignored. Every step they take now is a step away from you. And without action, those steps will turn into miles that cannot be retraced. Archangel Michael says there is a shadow moving ahead of them, clearing a path they believe is meant for their future. What they cannot see is that this path is lined with decisions they will have no control over once they take the first step. This is why the feeling in your heart has been so heavy. Your spirit already knows what is coming, even if your mind tries to deny it. Right now, they are having conversations they would never repeat to you. These talks are happening in hushed tones, in spaces they believe you will never hear about, with people who are planting seeds in their mind. Those seeds are not dreams. They are traps disguised as opportunities. The moment they decide to water them with action, those seeds will grow into something that will be nearly impossible to uproot. This is not just about them leaving a physical space. It is about them walking away from a shared history, shared struggles, and shared victories, as if those years could be folded into a box and stored away without consequence. They believe this is starting fresh, but in reality, it is an erasure of roots, the cutting of a cord that has sustained them far longer than they realize. Archangel Michael says the danger here is not just the departure, it is the deception that comes with it. Because they will convince themselves that you will be fine without them. That this separation is a blessing for you as well. And if that lie takes root, they will leave with a false sense of peace. The energy around them has shifted to a strange mixture of excitement and anxiety. You might notice their hands fidgeting more, their eyes glancing away when you speak about the future, or their answers becoming more vague. They are keeping things to themselves, not because they don't want to share, but because they know sharing might cause you to question them. There is a moment coming where they will be presented with a choice that feels like destiny. It will appear all is too perfectly timed, as though the universe itself is telling them, now is the moment to go. But I am telling you, this timing is no accident. It has been orchestrated by those who want them gone from your life. When that moment arrives, it will be fast. There won't be time for drawn-out goodbyes or deep discussions. The decision will be made in silence, and you may only find out when it's already too late to change. Archangel Michael says you are being called to step into a strength you didn't know you had. This is not the time to wait for proof. This is the time to act on the truth you feel in your spirit right now. In the near future, I see a scene where you realize they've already distanced themselves in ways you can't ignore. You look around and notice their absence in the smallest places. Not just in the physical sense, but in their emotional presence. Even when they are near you, their energy will feel far away, as though part of them is already living in the life they are playing. They have been encouraged to believe that walking away is an act of bravery, that it is about claiming independence and chasing dreams. But what they don't know is that these same people urging them forward will not be there when the challenges come. They will be alone, facing obstacles they were never prepared for. Once the newness wears off, the reality will come in waves. The loneliness, the unfamiliarity, the realization that they have stepped into a future that doesn't look as bright as they imagined. And in that moment, they will think of what they left behind. Archangel Michael says it is far easier to prevent a departure than to undo one. Once they are gone, the distance between you will not just be measured in miles, but in changes of the heart. The warning is urgent because this is not just about them. It is about the effect this will have on you. Their leaving will pull you into a season of rapid change, forcing you to adapt to an absence you did not choose. It will require you to rebuild parts of yourself while carrying the weight of questions that may never be answered. You are not being told this so you can stop them by force that would only push them further away. You are being told this so you can speak the kind of truth that can cut through the noise they are drowning in. Your voice has the power to reach the part of them that is still unsure, the part that remembers why they stayed as long as they did. There is still a window of time. It's small, but it's open. If you step into it with courage and clarity, you may be able to shift the balance. Archangel Michael says you must prepare now because when the final moment comes, hesitation will cost you everything. Archangel Michael says the pace of events is quickening. Every day that passes, your person takes another quiet step toward the life they've been convinced they should chase. These steps may seem small to them, but together they form a path that will soon be impossible to turn back from. They have started aligning their thoughts, actions, and even their emotions with this imagined future. They've been pulling away from old commitments, avoiding conversations that require long-term planning with you, and steering clear of anything that might anchor them to the present. This is all part of their silent preparation, breaking their ties without drawing attention to the fact that they're doing it. The people guiding them are not speaking in full truths. They offer only the enticing parts of the vision they are selling, the sense of freedom, the thrill of starting over, the possibility of reinventing themselves. They do not mention the sleepless nights, the instability, or the losses that come with such a drastic change. They don't talk about the fact that once you leave everything, you often find out how much of your identity was built on what you left behind. Archangel Michael says there is a point approaching when they will be handed an opening, a perfect, almost cinematic opportunity to go. If you have not reached them by then, that moment will become the turning point that locks them into the decision. In the spiritual realm, this departure is not just a personal decision. It's a move on a much larger chessboard. There are forces that know your connection is powerful, and removing your person from your life is a way to weaken you. That is why this situation feels so heavy in your spirit, because it is more than just human choice. It is part of a larger, unseen battle. The pull on them is emotional but also energetic. They are being made to feel that the air is fresher somewhere else, that the weight they feel will vanish if they step away, but what they're really sensing is a temptation designed to lure them into a place where their spirit is more vulnerable. Your connection with them has been a shield, even when it's been tested. You have been a grounding force, one that keeps them tethered to truth and away from certain dangers. If they leave, a tether is cut, and the very things you've helped protect them from will have far easier access to their life. Archangel Michael says you are not powerless in this. You've been entrusted with this knowledge so you can act in wisdom, not fear. The moment you speak with clarity, the illusions around them will begin to crack. Soon, their behavior will make the reality impossible to ignore. You will notice longer gaps in communication, unexplained absences, and conversations that feel forced. They will smile, but it won't reach their eyes. They will speak, but their words will sound rehearsed. Inside, they are torn, part of them still anchored to the life you share, part of them already drifting toward what they believe is calling them. That inner split is your entry point. If you can reach the part of them that still values what you've built together, You can tip the scales before the decision hardens into certainty. There will be a specific sign, something small but undeniable, that will tell you the moment is here. It could be a packed bag you weren't meant to see, a phone call that makes them step out of the room, or a sudden change in their plans without explanation. That sign is not a coincidence, it is your final call to act. Archangel Michael says hesitation in that moment will be your greatest enemy. Speak then, and speak with the strength that comes from knowing you were warned for a reason. If this path is not interrupted, they will leave quickly. The departure will not be drawn out. It will be decisive, almost abrupt. They will convince themselves it's better to leave suddenly than to prolong the pain. But after the initial thrill of newness, the reality will settle in. The nights will be quieter than they expected. The people they thought would be there for them will not show the same loyalty you did. And in the silence, they will remember the stability they walked away from. By then, the return will not be simple. Pride, circumstances, and the changes in both of your lives will make it difficult to bridge the gap. That is why this moment, right now, matters so much. The battle isn't for the future, it's for the present decision. Archangel Michael says the door is still open, but it will not remain so for long. The choice to step forward and intervene is yours. Archangel Michael says the air around them is becoming heavier with decision. They are living in two realities at once, one where they are still here with you, and another where they've already crossed into a different life. Each day, the second reality is pulling harder, and if nothing changes, it will soon swallow the first completely. They have started cutting emotional threads without making it obvious. They speak less about shared dreams. They avoid deep conversations, and they hesitate before answering questions about the future. These are not accidental changes. They are rehearsals for the moment they will no longer have to answer to the same promises they made before. The people who are guiding them toward this exit know exactly what they are doing. They speak in ways that plant both doubt and desire in your person's heart. They remind them of frustrations and disappointments, exaggerating them so they feel heavier than they are. Then they dangle visions of a future that seems lighter, freer, and full of possibility, a clever trap wrapped in the language of hope. Archangel Michael says this is why you have felt restless lately, even without clear evidence. Your spirit is detecting the shift before your mind can fully process it. That restlessness is your sign to pay attention now, not later. There will be moments in the coming days that will reveal more than they intend. A slip of the tongue, a message they quickly hide, a meeting they can't explain. Each of these will be small but significant. Do not dismiss them as harmless. These are pieces of the puzzle showing you how close they are to stepping away. They believe they are acting in secret, but in the spiritual realm, nothing is hidden. Every thought, every plan, every whispered conversation is known. And the picture that's forming is one of urgency. They are further along in their decision than you've been allowed to see. Right now, their heart is split. One half is still tied to the life they've built here. The other half is pulled by the excitement of what they think lies ahead. If you do nothing, the second half will win. But if you speak truth into the first half, it can grow strong enough to anchor them before they take the final step. Archangel Michael says your words carry weight, more than you know. You are not powerless in this moment unless you choose to remain silent. I see a moment in the near future when everything will shift quickly. They will receive a message, a call, or an invitation that will make their decision feel urgent. That's when they will act, not slowly, but swiftly, before they can second-guess themselves. It will look like a sudden choice to others, but you will know it has been building for weeks. They have been preparing for this, quietly and methodically. And when that moment comes, if you haven't reached them yet, it will be too late to change their course. The plan they are being drawn into is not as pure as they believe. There are strings attached, obligations and sacrifices that will only reveal themselves once they've already left. By then, the people drawing them away will have exactly what they wanted: control over your person's direction, and a weakened connection between the two of you. Archangel Michael says it is better to risk speaking now than to regret silence later. The opportunity to intervene is narrowing with each passing day. If they go through with this, they will face a kind of isolation they are not prepared for. At first, the novelty will distract them. The new environment, the unfamiliar faces, the feeling of freedom, it will all seem exhilarating. But underneath, a slow emptiness will begin to grow. They will think of the life they left, not in moments of regret at first, but in flashes of memory that make their chest ache. Over time, those flashes will become longer, heavier, and harder to ignore. And then the truth will settle in. They left something irreplaceable behind. But by then, returning will not be easy. Too much will have changed, and the path back will be steep. That is why this moment, right here, right now, is the one that matters most. Archangel Michael says, I am not telling you this to cause fear. I am telling you this because you have been entrusted with knowledge that most never receive in time. What you do with it will shape both your life and theirs. Archangel Michael says the atmosphere around them is shifting faster now, as if invisible hands are pushing them toward a point of no return. They are restless in a way they can't explain, pacing in thought even when their body is still, imagining a life where every tie to the present is cut clean. Each time they picture it, the image becomes sharper, and the pull becomes harder to resist. You may have noticed it in their eyes, that faraway look when you speak to them. It's not distraction. It's detachment. They are already living pieces of their future in their mind, and with each mental rehearsal, they are building courage to make it real. They think this courage is freedom. But they don't see that it's been manufactured by whispers from people who stand to gain from their absence in your life. These whispers are strategic, they don't push all at once. They drip-feed doubts into your person's heart until the roots of contentment are loosened. Then they feed them visions of another world, one where all their frustrations disappear, where happiness is instant and without cost. But this is a crafted illusion, and the price they will pay for believing it will be heavier than they've been told. Archangel Michael says this is why your spirit has been unsettled in recent days. You are sensing what's moving behind the curtain before it is revealed on the stage. The plan around them is accelerating. There is an urgency in the voices pulling them away, as if they know the window to act is closing. That urgency will soon transfer to your person. They'll feel as if they have to make a choice now, or lose their chance forever. This false urgency is a tactic designed to push them into a decision without giving them time to see its flaws. I see a meeting in the near future, quiet, deliberate, and away from familiar places. This meeting will seal an understanding in their mind, making them believe they have support waiting if they walk away. But the support being promised is conditional. It will last only as long as they are useful. You will begin to notice small absences in their life that they won't fully explain. A late return home. A conversation they pause when you enter the room, plans that feel vague and uncommitted. Each of these is a thread being cut from your shared life. Archangel Michael says you cannot let these signs pass without recognition. This is not the time to assume it will resolve itself. The storm is not passing. It is gathering. If nothing changes, there will come a night, or perhaps a single day, when their departure will feel sudden to everyone else but you. You will have seen the build-up, the signs, the rehearsals. But to the outside world, it will look like a decision made in the moment. That will be the final act of the plan, to make it appear natural, even inevitable. The people influencing them will celebrate their choice, but only for as long as it serves their agenda. The moment your person needs help that doesn't benefit them, those same people will begin to distance themselves. This is the reality that has been hidden behind the promise of a better life. Once away, your person will face moments of loneliness they cannot anticipate now. Nights where the silence feels heavier than the air. Days where even the sun doesn't warm the way it used to. And in those moments, they will think of what they walked away from. Archangel Michael says you are not powerless here. You have the ability to speak into that hesitation they still carry deep inside. That small doubt, the one they don't tell anyone about, is the key to changing their course. The timing is critical. I see a date ahead where all of this will come to a head. It is not far. Weeks at most, perhaps even days. On that date, they will receive something, a call, a message, or a physical sign, that will feel like the final green light to leave. If you have not acted before then, the decision will harden like stone. Your voice, your presence, and your truth must reach them before that moment. It is not about convincing them through fear that will only push them away. It is about grounding them in the reality of what is true, stripping away the illusions others have wrapped around their eyes. Archangel Michael says, I am giving you this now because heaven does not want you blindsided. You are being entrusted with forewarning so you can move with purpose. What you choose to do with it will define the days to come. Archangel Michael says the chain of events is no longer moving at a slow crawl. It is accelerating like a river after heavy rain, sweeping everything in its current toward a single moment. Your person is being carried by this current, convinced it is the flow of destiny, when in truth it is a push from hands they do not see. Every conversation they've had recently, every quiet thought they've kept to themselves, hath been another drop of water feeding this rushing tide. Their actions are becoming bolder in small ways. They no longer ask for your opinion about future plans, because those plans no longer include you in the same way. They choose where to go, who to meet, and how to spend their time with a certain secrecy, as though protecting something fragile. What they are really protecting is the illusion of control, the idea that this is entirely their decision, untouched by outside influence. But Archangel Michael says the truth is far different. The strings being pulled are not visible in the physical world, but they are there nonetheless, guiding them toward a path that will strip away more than they can imagine. those urging them forward are not offering freedom. They are offering a cage painted gold, a future that looks bright until the doors close behind them. I tell you this now so you can see past the surface. The urgency you feel in your chest is not anxiety without cause, it is the alarm of your spirit, warning you that time is running thin. There will be a moment, very soon, when their distance becomes undeniable. They will say less and disappear more. You will feel the gap in their presence even when they are sitting right beside you. That's because in their mind, they've already left. They've begun picturing the day they walk away. They've imagined what they will take, what they will leave behind, and even the words they might say to you. Carefully chosen to soften the blow. But no matter how gentle they plan it, the fracture it will cause cannot be softened. The ones influencing them are preparing for this, too. They have made promises to be there when the time comes, but their loyalty is an illusion. The moment your person needs more than they are willing to give, they will retreat, leaving them to face the consequences alone. Archangel Michael says you have been entrusted with foresight so you can act before the script is complete. Right now, there are still lines unwritten and you can change them, but only if you step forward without hesitation. I see the day of decision clearly. The light will be different. The air heavy with a strange anticipation. They will receive something, a message, an opportunity, an invitation, that will feel like the universe saying go. In reality, it will be the final lure, placed perfectly to tip them over the edge. The moment they accept it, the path will narrow until there is no room to turn back. That is why your role now is not to wait and watch, but to speak into the doubt that still lingers within them. They may not admit it aloud, but part of them is still unsure. That is the part you must reach. The decision is not just about their life. It will ripple into yours, changing the shape of your days, the rhythm of your nights, and the direction of your future. This is why the warning carries such weight. Heaven does not send messages like this unless the outcome is significant. Archangel Michael says this is a battle for the next chapter of both your lives. It is not just about keeping them here. It is about protecting what was built from being dismantled by unseen hands. If they do go through with leaving, the reality will not match the dream they've been sold. At first, the air will feel lighter, the scenery new and exciting. But soon, the cracks will appear, the loneliness, the unkept promises, the realization that freedom without stability is just another form of captivity. They will think of you in moments of quiet, not casually, but with a depth that aches. They will remember your voice, your steadiness, your presence, and realize those things cannot be replaced. But by then, pride and circumstance will make the road back far more difficult than they ever imagined. That is why the fight for this moment matters more than the hope for later reconciliation. You are not only trying to prevent their absence, you are trying to prevent the wounds that absence will leave behind. Archangel Michael says your awareness is your weapon. Use it now, before the moment comes when even the sharpest words cannot change their course. Archangel Michael says the hour is closer than you think. The threads holding them here are thinning. Each one fraying with every passing conversation they have with those who want them gone from your side. It's not a loud process. It's quiet, strategic, and deliberate. The silence is the most dangerous part, because it allows them to slip further away without the world noticing. They have already begun making choices as though they are free from the life they currently have. Look closely and you will see it. The small refusals, the subtle avoidance of shared plans, the way they dodge certain topics. It's their way of loosening their grip so that when they finally let go, it doesn't feel like a sudden fall. But what they don't see is that these steps are not leading them into light. They are walking into shadows disguised as opportunity. Those influencing them speak with honeyed words, hiding the hopes underneath. They make the future sound easy, promising a place where nothing will be as difficult as it is now. But Archangel Michael says the truth is far different. Every easy promise comes with a price that will be paid in time, energy, and pieces of their soul. The spiritual realm is watching this unfold, and I am here because you still have the power to shift the ending. Soon, their energy will change entirely. They will start moving through the world as though they are already living a different life, one without the weight of shared responsibilities or the roots that have held them steady. This change will not be subtle anymore. It will be felt in every interaction. They will become harder to reach, not just physically, but emotionally. Even when you speak to them, their responses will seem delayed, like they are answering from a place far away. That's because their mind is already there, rehearsing their new life and convincing themselves that it is worth the risk. The ones guiding them are clever. They are filling their mind with visions that make the present seem dull and the unknown seem thrilling. They don't tell them about the nights that will be empty or the challenges that will come without warning. They only talk about the highs, never the lows. Archangel Michael says you must see these illusions for what they are. And once you see them, you must become the voice that interrupts their echo. I see the moment they will be presented with the final push. It will come suddenly, without much warning. A phone call, a private meeting, an offer they are told will disappear if they don't act now. That's when the urgency will become unbearable for them, and they will feel like they have no choice but to go. It will happen fast. There will be little time for anyone to react. And that is exactly how those pulling the strings want it, because the quicker it happens, the less chance there is for doubt to creep in. If they take that step, the first days might feel liberating. They'll tell themselves they made the right choice. But slowly, the glow will fade. The people who seem so supportive will begin to ask for more than they give. The cost will reveal itself, and it will be heavier than they imagined. Archangel Michael says you can still prevent this, but your moment to act is now. Every day you wait, the door closes a little more. If they do leave, it will not just affect them, it will shift the ground under your feet as well. You will be forced to navigate sudden change, and the absence will echo in ways you can't prepare for. This is why the warning is coming with such urgency, because preventing the departure will save both of you from a wave of consequences that will be hard to undo. In the vision I see, there is still a flicker in their spirit that is unsure. They don't talk about it openly, but it is there, the small hesitation, a question that whispers late at night when they are alone. That hesitation is your opening. If you speak to it now, it can grow strong enough to stop them. You don't have to use fear to reach them. Use truth. Use the memories they still hold close. Remind them of the value in what they are about to leave behind, not to trap them, but to open their eyes to what is real. Archangel Michael says the warning has been delivered. The rest will be determined by whether you act on it or let it pass.